June 8th, 2023, 4:47 a.m. Surovikin Line, Zaporizhia Oblast, southern Ukraine. Ukrainian offensive begins. Finally, months preparation, Western training, NATO equipment, Leopard 2 tanks, Bradley fighting vehicles, everything. Modern, professional, ready. Target, Surovikin Line, Russian defensive fortifications, southern Ukraine, Zaporizhia sector, named after General Sergei Surovikin. Architect, built, winter 2023. Months construction, depth 30 plus kilometers, multiple layers, dragon's teeth, anti-tank ditches, minefields, extensive, trenches, fortified positions, everything, systematic, professional, deep, Ukrainian forces advancing, confident, Western equipment, superior, Russian fortifications, expected, overcomable, through combined arms, NATO tactics, superior training, everything, confidence high, reality different, approaching fortifications, first contact, minefields, extensive, everywhere, vehicles disabled, damaged, stopped, engineers working, clearing, under fire, Russian artillery, pre-registered, accurate, deadly, casualties immediate, progress halted, first hours, offensive stalled, already, this is Surovikin Line, this is prepared defense, this is modern fortress warfare, where months preparation defeats offensive confidence, where defensive depth stops armored advance, where Ukrainian offensive, expectations high, reality brutal, immediate, complete. Surovikin Line, June 2023. Ukrainian counteroffensive, stopped cold, first day. The fortress develops. Winter 2022-2023. Russian forces, defensive. After Kherson withdrawal, Kharkiv retreat. Everything. Offensive capability lost. Defensive strategy necessary. Surovikin appointed. Commander. October 2022. Ordered. Prepare defenses. Southern Ukraine. Zaporizhia. Kherson sectors. Everything. Defensive lines. Deep. Professional. Comprehensive. Construction. Begins. Months. Systematic. Extensive. Dragon's teeth. Concrete pyramids. Anti-tank obstacles. Rows. Kilometers. Stopping. Armored advance. Channeling. Into kill zones. Everything. Systematic. Minefields. Extensive. Layered. Anti-tank. Anti-personnel. Everything. Density. Extreme. Clearance. Difficult. Time-consuming. Deadly. Under fire. Anti-tank ditches. Wide. Deep. Impassable. Armor. Infantry. Everything. Fortified positions. Trenches. Concrete. Reinforced. Interconnected. Mutually supporting. Everything. Professional. Systematic. Artillery. Pre-registered. Every approach. Every avenue. Coordinates. Plotted. Ready. Immediate. Accurate. Deadly. Defensive depth. 30 plus kilometers. Multiple layers. Forward positions. Main defense. Rear reserves. Everything. Layered. Redundant. Professional. Surovikin Line complete. Spring 2023. Ready? Tested? Never. Until June. Ukrainian offensive. Everything. At 11:47 a.m. June 8th. Hours into offensive. Ukrainian losses mounting. Leopard 2 tanks damaged. Destroyed. Multiple. Minefields. Artillery. Everything. Bradley fighting vehicles hit. Disabled. Burning. Crews. Casualties. Heavy. Engineers working desperately. Mine clearing. Under. Constant fire. Artillery. Mortars. Small arms. Everything. Casualties mounting. Progress minimal. Meters. Not kilometers. Hours passed. Offensive stalled. Completely. Ukrainian command realizes Surovikin Line more formidable than expected. Prepared. Professional. Deep. Deadly. Everything. Combined. Creates impenetrable defense. Nearly. Offensive continues. Days. Weeks. June, July, August. Progress minimal. Casualties heavy. Western equipment damaged. Destroyed. Significant numbers. Leopard 2. Bradley. Everything. Modern. Expensive. Destroyed. Systematically. Defensive fortifications. Russian artillery. Minefields. Everything. Combined. Ukrainian offensive. Failed. Strategically. Gains. Minimal. Villages. Few. Strategic objectives. Unachieved. Tokmak. Melitopol. Everything. Unreached. Surovikin Line. Held. Defensive victory. Russian. Complete. Ukrainian offensive 2023. Stopped. Fortifications. Prepared defense. Defensive depth. Everything. Surovikin Line. Proved. Modern fortress. Effective. Completely. This is MilFront. And what happened wasn't tactical failure or poor planning. Was demonstration that modern prepared defenses with adequate time and resources can stop even Western-equipped offensives when defensive depth and systematic fortification create layered obstacle system that forces attackers into predictable kill zones under constant artillery fire. Where Ukrainian NATO-trained forces with Leopard tanks and Bradley vehicles encountered defensive system that negated mobility advantages and forced costly frontal assaults against prepared positions. Where months of Russian preparation created defensive barrier that Ukrainian offensive couldn't penetrate despite superior equipment and training. Where Surovikin Line proved that given time defenders can create fortifications that make offensive operations prohibitively costly. The question isn't whether offensive failed. Obviously did. The question is what made Surovikin Line so effective. Whether offensive could have succeeded with different approach. And what modern fortress warfare reveals about balance between offense and defense when defenders have time to prepare systematically. Official Russian statements about Surovikin Line. Confident. Defensive preparations complete. Enemy offensive will fail. Everything. Propaganda, but accurate. Unusually. Surovikin Line. Effective. Proved. June-August 2023. Ukrainian offensive. Stopped. Russian defenses. Held. Statements. Vindicated. For once. Russian defensive success. Real. Acknowledged. Celebrated. Appropriately. Defensive warfare. Russian strength. Historically. Surovikin Line. Continued. Tradition. Modern. Effective. Complete. Ukrainian statements about offensive. Measured. Realistic. Progress slower than expected. Accurate. Enemy defenses formidable. True. Operations continuing. Fact. Statements acknowledged. Reality. Surovikin Line. Effective. Offensive. Difficult. Progress. Costly. But continued. Adjusted tactics. Changed approaches. Everything. Adapted. Eventually. Somewhat. But strategic objectives. Unachieved. 2023. Offensive limited success. Tactical. Strategic failure. Acknowledged. Eventually. Honestly. Professional. Ukrainian military. Learned. Adapted. Continued. Despite. Defensive barrier. Surovikin Line. Formidable. Effective. Proven. Stay with me. Because the detail that explains defensive effectiveness, what made Surovikin Line work, is going to show you that combination of depth, obstacles, and fires created system where attacking forces couldn't mass combat power at decisive point because obstacles forced dispersion while fires punished concentration. Defensive depth, 30+ kilometers. Multiple layers. Forward. Main. Rear. Everything. Attacker must penetrate all. Sequentially. Each layer. Defended. Supported. Time consuming. Costly. Depth creates time. For defenders. Artillery. Reserves. Everything. React. Reinforce. Defeat. Obstacles. Systematic. Dragon's teeth. Channel armor. Into predictable routes. Kill zones. Minefields. Stop vehicles. Kill crews. Slow advance. Engineers. Required. Clearing. Under fire. Time consuming. Deadly. Anti-tank ditches. Block movement. Force. Alternative routes. Predicted. Covered.
Artillery. Everything. Obstacles. Create. Predictability. Vulnerability. Time. Everything. Defenders exploit.
Fires pre-registered. Artillery. Every approach. Every route. Coordinates plotted. Ready. Immediate. Accurate. Deadly. Ukrainian forces advancing. Predictable routes. Obstacles dictate. Artillery waiting. Firing. Constantly. Accurately. Devastating. Combination. Depth plus obstacles plus fires. Creates system. Where offense. Cannot concentrate. Combat power. Cannot achieve. Decisive breakthrough. Cannot sustain. Momentum. Everything. Defensive system. Surovikin Line. Defeats. Systematically. Offensive operations. Modern. Western equipped. Everything. Defensive architecture. Properly designed. Adequately resourced. Professionally executed. Defeats. Offensive operations. Surovikin Line. Proved. Completely. Let's establish what Surovikin Line actually was. Construction. Composition. Effectiveness. Surovikin Line construction. Winter 2020-2023. Months. Systematic. Professional. Resources. Allocated. Military engineers. Civilian contractors. Equipment. Everything. Available. Priority. High. Construction. Organized. Systematic. Comprehensive. Dragon's teeth. Produced. Thousands. Concrete pyramids. Transported. Emplaced. Rows. Kilometers. Southern Ukraine. Zaporizhia. Kherson. Everything. Systematic. Minefields. Laid. Extensive. Anti-tank. TM62. Anti-personnel. PMN. Everything. Density. High. Depth. Significant. Kilometers. Layered. Everywhere. Approaches. Routes. Everything. Mined. Extensively. Trenches. Dug. Miles. Interconnected. Fortified. Reinforced. Concrete. Steel. Everything. Professional. Systematic. Deep. Firing positions. Prepared. Machine guns. Anti-tank. Artillery observers. Everything. Mutually supporting. Overlapping fields. Fire. Everything. Professional. Military engineering. Month's work. Created. Defensive barrier. Formidable. Unprecedented. Modern warfare. Surovikin Line. Complete. Spring 2023. Defensive system components. Physical obstacles. Dragon's teeth. Anti-tank. Concrete pyramids. 1.5 meters tall. Rows. Stopping tanks. Channeling routes. Predictable. Anti-tank ditches. Wide. 4+ meters. Deep. 3+ meters. Impassable. Armor. Blocking. Movement. Forcing. Alternatives. Covered. Artillery. Minefields. Extensive. Layered. Anti-tank mines. TM62. Density. 1-2 per meter. Some areas. Anti-personnel. PMN. PFM. Everything. Mixed. Layered. Deadly. Clearance. Difficult. Time-consuming. Under fire. Everything. Fortified positions. Trenches. Reinforced. Concrete. Steel. Protected. Infantry. Machine guns. Anti-tank. Javelin. Everything. Interconnected. Communication trenches. Supplies. Ammunition. Everything. Systematic. Professional. Artillery support. Pre-registered fires. Every approach. Coordinates plotted. Ready. Multiple batteries. 152 minutes. 122 MLRS. Everything. Immediate. Accurate. Deadly. Responsive. Combination. Create system. Defensive. Comprehensive. Lethal. Effective. Ukrainian offensive June-August 2023. Planning. Months. Training. NATO. Equipment. Western. Leopard 2. Bradley. MR-13. Everything. Modern. Superior. Supposedly. Strategy. Breakthrough. Southern Ukraine. Sever. Russian land bridge. Crimea. Azov. Everything. Ambitious. Necessary. Difficult. Execution began. June 8th. Multiple axes. Zaporizhia. Primary. Others. Supporting. Initial contact. Immediate problems. Minefields. Extensive. Vehicles disabled. Engineers working. Under fire. Casualties heavy. Progress minimal. Days passed. Weeks. Tactics adjusted. Artillery preparation. Increased. Infantry emphasis. More. Combined arms. Attempted. Everything. Professional. But Surovikin Line. Depth. Obstacles. Fires. Everything. Proved too much. Offensive stalled. July-August. Continued. Limited gains. Villages. Few. Strategic objectives unachieved. Tokmak. 90 kilometers. From start. Unreached. Melitopol. Azov coast. Everything. Unachieved. September. Offensive. Essentially. Ended. Gains minimal. Casualties significant. Equipment lost. Heavy. Western. Leopard. Bradley. Everything. Damaged. Destroyed. Numbers classified. Significant certain. Offensive. 2023. Strategic failure. Surovikin Line. Decisive factor. Defensive victory. Russian. Complete. Offensive limitations and lessons. Equipment limitations. Leopard 2. Excellent. But not invincible. Mines. Artillery. Everything. Destroys. Eventually. Bradley. Modern. But vulnerable. RPGs. Mines. Artillery. Everything. Western equipment. Superior. Not magical. Cannot overcome. Systematic defenses. Alone. Tactical limitations. Mine clearing. Slow. Under fire. Deadly. Casualties. Engineers. Heavy. Progress minimal. Combined arms. Difficult. Urban terrain. Fortified positions. Everything. Complicated. Coordination. Challenging. Under fire. Constantly. Strategic limitations. Time. Insufficient. Offensive. Summer only. Weather. Mud. Autumn. Everything. Limited. Window. Pressure. Political. Military. Everything. Expectations. High. Reality. Difficult. Resources. Limited. Ammunition. Western. Finite. Artillery shells. Scarce. Everything. Constrained. Offensive. Ambitious. Resources. Insufficient. Time. Limited. Defenses. Formidable. Combination. Defeat. Strategic. Ukrainian offensive. 2023. Lessons. Learned. Expensive. Bloody. Permanent. 3 questions from the beginning. Time to answer them. What made Surovikin Line so effective? Combination. Depth. Obstacles. Fires. Everything. Systematic. Professional. Depth. 30 plus kilometers. Multiple layers. Time. Space. Everything. Defender's advantage. Obstacles. Dragon's teeth. Minefields. Ditches. Everything. Systematic. Extensive. Channeling. Stopping. Slowing. Attackers. Predictable. Vulnerable. Fires. Artillery. Pre-registered. Immediate. Accurate. Deadly. Everywhere. Constantly. Punishing. Concentration. Movement. Everything. Combination. Create system. Defensive. Where? Attackers. Cannot. Concentrate. Cannot. Breakthrough. Cannot. Sustain. Momentum. Everything. Defeated. Systematically. Surovikin Line. Effective. Because comprehensive. Systematic. Properly executed. Defeats modern offense. Even Western equipped. NATO-trained. Everything. Defensive advantage. Given time. Resources. Professionalism. Overwhelming. Could offensive have succeeded with different approach? Questionable. Different tactics. Attempted. Adjusted. Throughout. Summer. Nothing. Decisive breakthrough. Achieved. More resources. Maybe. More. Artillery. Ammunition. Western. Limited. More time. Maybe. But political pressure. Military necessity. Everything. Constrained. Timeline. Air power. Maybe. Ukrainian. Limited. Russian air defense. Extensive. Close air support. Difficult. Dangerous. Limited. Different axis. Maybe. But Surovikin Line. Everywhere. Southern Front. Zaporizhzhia. Kherson. Everything. Fortified. Depth. Everywhere. Breakthrough somewhere. Possible. Maybe. But exploitation. Difficult. Russian reserves. Mobile. Reactive. Everything. Success. Possible. With perfect execution. Unlimited resources. Unlimited time. Everything. Ideal. Reality. None existed. Success. Unlikely. Regardless. Approach. Surovikin Line. Defensive advantage. Too great. Given. Ukrainian resources. Time. Everything. Available. 2023. What does modern fortress warfare reveal? That defense advantage. Given. Time. Resources. Professionalism. Can be overwhelming. Even modern offense. Western equipment. NATO training. Everything. Superior. Not sufficient. Against prepared defenses. Systematic. Deep. Comprehensive. Modern warfare. Technology. Important. But not decisive. Alone. Preparation. Resources. Time. Everything. Matters. More. Sometimes. Offense-defense balance. Shifted. Defensive favor. When. Preparation adequate. Resources sufficient. Professionalism high. Surovikin Line. Demonstrated. Modern fortress. Effective. Against modern offense. Western. Everything. Defensive. Warfare. Lesson. Permanent. Given time. Defenders. Create barriers. Impenetrable. Nearly. Offensive operations. Require. Overwhelming. Resources. Time. Everything. Or accept. Failure. Costly. Bloody. Strategic. Surovikin Line. Taught. Modern warfare. Defensive advantages. Real. Significant. Decisive. When exploited. Properly. Professionally. Completely. The lesson from Surovikin Line is that modern defensive fortifications, given adequate preparation time, can create barriers that stop even Western-equipped offensives when systematic obstacle systems force predictable movement under constant fires. Russian forces winter 2022 to 2023 built comprehensive defensive system 30+ kilometers depth, Dragon's Teeth minefields, ditches, trenches, everything systematic, professional, extensive. Ukrainian offensive June 2023 encountered defensive barrier, negated mobility. Advantages forced frontal assaults against prepared positions under pre-registered artillery. Months. Ukrainian preparation, NATO training. Western equipment, Leopard tanks, Bradley vehicles, everything. Modern superior insufficient overcome systematic Russian defences depth. Obstacles fires combination proved overwhelming. Ukrainian offensive gained minimal territory villages, few strategic objectives. Tokmak, Melitopol, Azov coast, everything unachieved casualties, heavy equipment losses, significant Western Leopard Bradley, everything damaged, destroyed. Surovikin Line proved modern fortress warfare effective, comprehensive defensive preparation, defeats offensive operations, even superior equipped trained forces. Modern warfare lesson defense given time resources creates advantages. Overwhelming offense cannot overcome without disproportionate costs. Unlimited resources, unlimited time, everything ideal reality provides. Neither. Surovikin Line demonstrated defensive architecture properly executed, defeats modern offense systematically, completely, permanently. Teaching modern warfare defenders advantage real when preparation, adequate resources, sufficient professionalism high, everything combined. Study Surovikin Line, learn defensive warfare. Modern systematic preparation creates barriers nearly impenetrable. Offensive operations require overwhelming resources or accept costly failure. Ukrainian 2023 offensive demonstrated Russian Surovikin Line proved permanent lesson. Modern fortress warfare effective. This is MilFront. We analyze modern defensive warfare. Surovikin Line exemplifies modern fortress effectiveness. Winter 2022 to 2023, month systematic construction. Dragon's Teeth concrete pyramids, thousands rows kilometers stopping channeling armor. Minefields, extensive layered anti-tank, anti-personnel density, extreme clearance, difficult, deadly under fire. Anti-tank ditches, wide, deep, impassable, forcing, alternatives, predicted, covered fires. Trenches fortified, interconnected, mutually supporting professional military engineering. Artillery pre-registered every approach, coordinates plotted, ready, immediate, accurate, deadly. Defensive depth 30 plus kilometers, multiple layers forward. Main rear, everything systematic, comprehensive, professional. Result, impenetrable barrier nearly. June 2023, Ukrainian offensive began. Confident NATO. Trained Western, equipped Leopard Bradley, everything modern superior. Encountered Surovikin Line, immediate problems. Minefields, extensive vehicles. Disabled engineers working under constant fire casualties. Heavy progress. Minimal. Days, weeks. Offensive continued tactics. Adjusted artillery, increased infantry emphasis. Combined. Arms attempted everything professional, but Surovikin Line Depth+obstacles+fires proved too much. July-August, minimal gains, villages, few strategic objectives, unachieved. Tokmak 90 kilometers unreached, Melitopol, Azov. Everything unachieved. September offensive essentially ended strategic failure. Surovikin Line. Decisive defensive victory. Russian proved modern fortress effective against modern offense. Western equipped NATO trained everything. Lessen permanent defense given time, resources. Professionalism creates advantages, overwhelming offense requires disproportionate costs, unlimited